It's hard to believe it's been 14 years since the first Despicable Me movie came out, but here we are.
Here we are.
In 2024, and we have the fourth one of these movies.
Well, I mean, honestly, 6 if you include the Minion spinoffs.
Yes, the fourth Despicable Me movie, but, you know, the Minions movies, yes, we're up to 6. Yeah. So, Kennedy, you and I both saw the movie.
We did.
And we're going to talk about it. So, if I were Despicable Me 4, what would be happening in my plot?
Well, in Despicable Me 1, Gru steals the moon. In Despicable Me 4, he tries to steal our hearts. Oh. So as you know, Felonious Gru, as is his full name.
I didn't know that until you wrote about it today.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
He and his wife, Lucy, have had a son, Felonious Gru Jr. And guess what? Not everyone's happy about it. In particular, well, I mean, most people probably are pretty indifferent. Right. But there's this one villain named Maxime who has it out for Gru, not only because they went to school together, but also because Gru recently got him arrested.
Yeah.
And he just broke out of jail, and so he's actually going to take his revenge by trying to steal Gru's son and turn him into a cockroach-human hybrid, which, by the way, is what he is because he believes that cockroaches have this superior DNA.
Right. And his full name is Maxime Lamal, which is basically...
Maxime the Bad.
Maxime the Bad, right?
Yes.
Or Maximum Bad.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he is, right? You know, any guy who takes babies and turns them into cockroaches, you know, well, we hope that Gru prevails against such a thing. That's not the only thing that's going on here, though. There's like 3 other subplots.
Yeah, and that was the interesting thing, I think, because for a movie that is kind of focused towards children, I was surprised at how many different subplots were going on.
Yep.
And I was thinking, you know, I'm kind of getting annoyed with the switching back and forth, but I can only imagine a child having to follow all these different plot lines.
Right.
For instance, as we said before, Gru has a son, and his son doesn't really like him yet. He's kind of unsure about this father figure in his life.
Yep.
And so Gru's really trying to become connected with his son.
Yeah.
And that's going on throughout the entire movie. What's also going on is that they're trying to adjust to their new lives. You see, they've been placed in this sort of witness protection program.
To protect them from Maxime.
Yeah, because Maxime is hunting them down, and so the Anti-Villain League says, we're going to move you to this safe house, and you take on these personas while we look out for Maxime. And until we capture him, you stay here, and you pretend to be Chet Cunningham, for instance.
Solar panel salesman.
Yes, solar panel salesman. And Lucy has to become a hairstylist at a salon. And there's a lot of stress going on as they have to focus into this new life, including with the daughters who, though they aren't really on screen all that often, they still have to worry about, well, am I going to fit in at school? I've got this new karate dojo who I have to learn with this new teacher. Yep. And then you have little Agnes who is just so worried that, hey, if you tell me I have to tell everyone that I'm no longer Agnes, now I'm Brittany, isn't that a lie? And you told me never to lie. So what's going on, Gru?
Yeah, and on top of that, they have these very posh, kind of snooty neighbors who have a teenage daughter who secretly wants to be a supervillain, and she ropes Gru. She basically blackmails Gru into
which honestly,
something that involves a honey badger.
Honestly, one of the most villainous twists in the whole story is saying, I understand you're in witness protection, but I am going to sell you out if you don't help me steal something. That was horrible.
It is horrible. Now, having said that, obviously it plugged in.
We're not even done with the plot.
Sorry, I jumped ahead.
Because we haven't even talked about the Minions.
Oh, yes, Minions. You're right. I almost forgot the Minions.
Yeah, so the Anti-Villain League decides, hey, we'll take them all off your hands while you... I mean, it's pretty hard to keep your cover when you've got 2,000 little yellow Tic Tacs running around.
Right, erasers.
But so the Anti-Villain League decides, well, we are going to train them up essentially to be special agents to help us track down Maxime. And to start off with that, we are going to give 5 of them superpowers. And they eventually, they kind of come out kind of like a weird version of the Fantastic Four.
Very weird.
Plus Cyclops with the laser beam stuff.
Yep.
And they go around and they try and do heroics. And as you might expect, they're minions. They don't really do that good of a job, but you know their hearts are in the right place. If they have hearts.
Collateral damage.
Collateral damage. Feel bad for that window washer.
Exactly. That was a funny scene. So it was funny. I laughed a lot. I thought, man, I enjoy this more than I remember enjoying the third one. But obviously at Plugged In, we want to help people know what content is there. So what kind of content things can people expect to find here?
Yeah, you know, Despicable Me 4, I think, to its credit, follows largely along the rest of the Despicable Me franchise entries. You have a lot of the same toilet humor, although admittedly a bit less in this
there's
entry.
less. Yeah.
But you still have the slapstick violence that can occasionally turn a little more dangerous, especially as you get to the finale. And of course, there's always a minion who is missing his pants.
Because it's funny, and it's also gratuitous and unnecessary, but as bathroom humor goes, it's relatively innocent, I think. Although some parents are going to be like, yeah, we don't need that. But I would say there aren't any real facepalm moments here. I mean,
No.
there's nothing that made me say, oh, it would have been so great if they hadn't done that, right? Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I think
I'm leading the witness, but
there's one, there's one moment in the film in which they're being chased by this woman with an uber German accent.
Yes.
And she yells out at one point, "Oh, schnitzel." And for a moment, she carries out that beginning letter so long that you think for a moment, oh no, wait, no, this is PG. They can't do that. But then they don't. And she says schnitzel, and it's all okay. But there's a moment there.
Well, I think one of the things that I appreciate about Illumination and the films that they've done, and we talk about this a lot in the Plugged In Show podcast that airs this week, is there's not that injection of lots of social messaging or progressive ideas or LGBT stuff. They're willing to just tell a story and let the story have fun. And I think for the most part, that's been true of everything Illumination has put out.
Yeah, and honestly, that's something that I think we as a ministry have appreciated about a lot of the Illumination releases. At the very least, we've been able to rest a little easier every time we go into an Illumination release because we know, hey, they really do just want to make some family-friendly films.
Yeah.
And we don't have to worry that halfway through the Despicable Me 4 intro, they're going to have some minion come out and do some political commentary on something.
Yep. No, I think that's exactly right. And I think if you have seen any of the first 3 films in this franchise, you've got a good idea of what to expect here. I laughed. I don't think I cried. I don't think it was better than Cats, but it was exactly what I expected it to be. And sometimes as parents, we just want stuff that is going to be what we expect it to be. And I think this franchise does a good job of that.
No, I would agree. Now, if you've ever wanted to hear me rant about Despicable Me 4, or maybe you wanted to hear Adam tell just another pun, well, maybe you should head on over to the Plugged In Show.
That's right. And when you get done listening to the Plugged In Show, come to pluggedin.com and we will give you all the information you need to make the best decision for your family about everything that's out there in the realm of pop culture and technology today.